Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar introducing operational technology, OT, securing your industrial customers. So today we have Lou Palacio, who's the director of OT channels at Fortinet, and so I will pass it over to you, Lou.
Well, thank you very much, and a good afternoon to those of you in the East, and a good morning to you, those that are on the West. Again, my name is Lou Palacio. I have been with Fortinet for 3.5 years. I've been working with the OT team in some capacity that entire time, and dedicated to the team recently as of January. So I'd also like to introduce Cheryl Hatlevig, our director of marketing, and a very special thank you to Exclusive Networks for arranging and hosting this presentation. So thank you very much. We're going to talk today about operational technology and how you can take advantage of that and partner with us. I'm going to talk a little bit about OT in itself. This presentation will have a front half in which we will talk about security challenges in OT, the market overview, notable wins that we had in 2020, a bit more about OT in general, the top 4 use cases, and a competitive view and security fabric differentiators. Then there'll be a little bit of a bridge where I'll talk about 2 opportunity profiles, one in the food and beverage business and the other in retail. And then the back half of the presentation, we'll talk a bit about the deal review on the food and beverage opportunity. We'll talk about target buyers and value proposition to them, key talking points, qualifying questions, what next steps for you, a little bit about who's who on the OT team, and finally, how to partner with Fortinet. So with that, let's get started. Okay, so there are security challenges in OT today. Really, there are 3. Okay, and starting with the attack surface. The attack surface is rapidly expanding, right? And that's happening for 2 reasons. One, having to do with digital transformation. Okay, asset owners, they want to reduce downtime, move from planned maintenance to condition-based maintenance schedules. They want to get data out of their assets, and to do that, they need to connect them, right? That effectively is what digital transformation is. Also, the pandemic, right? So the pandemic has to do with broadening our surface, which has created an increasing drive toward remote access, okay? And that's not just for employees, but third parties, vendors, and OEMs alike, okay? So there's a lot of different vectors coming in, and the opportunity is definitely grown and widened to create security challenges. So secondly, advanced threats, right? These require rapid detection and prevention. We have some content coming up that's going to show incidents that have happened, right, in the past 10 years, but I think the timing right now is very good. If you've been watching the news at all in the last 4 or 5 days, you'll see that advanced threats have really played a major play in putting a big time dent in an OT operation that is affecting the country severely, or at least the East Coast severely. And the third challenge is vendor complexity. So this is a really big challenge because a lot of the solutions that come into play, right, are API'd, kind of stitched together. And oftentimes people will go to best of breeds and then stitch, these things together to work as one. And that has the opportunity to create tech debt. Okay, tech debt is when you have to upgrade, right, a lot of these processes. And is the solution going to work? Are all these upgrades going to be done simultaneously? Are they going to be piecemealed? Are the APIs going to work? When that happens, it's really hard to say. When you have an integrated security fabric, right, you tend to eliminate that, and we're going to show you some solutions around that as well. So what about the market, right? What does the market look like right now, and what's the opportunity? This is some data from ARC Market Research, all right? And I'd like, if you would look on this sort of left-hand side of the screen here, what is the 5-year projection in this addressable market, right? We're looking at about just under $4 billion opportunity, and the compounded annual growth rate from 20 to 24 in that period, it is compounded at 14%, right? Which is pretty significant. But the key thing that I want to show you today, right, is look at this gray area in here growing. These are the services opportunities, and those of you out there, right, that are integrators and solution providers of different kinds, right, and whether you just sell solutions or you consult on them, the opportunity is great and increasing throughout this period. Now, the other thing is the network security solutions represent, between the two of them, it's about 2/3, right, of the opportunity. That's us. That's where we come in. And as a partner, right, this is an opportunity to address 2/3 of the market, and as it grows. If you look on the right-hand side here, this is the green point represents the North American opportunity, okay? And the verticals break out into power generation, transmission, and distribution, right? And then chemical, petrochemical, oil, gas, and refining. These three collectively represent what? The energy sector, okay? And then over here, these would represent, well, you have a lot of manufacturing here through the auto industry and the pharmas, and it's not just the big three. There's a lot of supporting players, you know, that make a lot of the parts, and these are all customers that are probably in your account list today. Utilities and water and wastewater, right? So the swath of customer base that's out there is very, very wide. So let's talk about some notable wins. Okay, the one thing that all of these opportunities have in common, if you just glance across the screen, is they're all greater than $500,000 opportunities. Okay, so there are a lot of elephant, a lot of large opportunities out there to retire quota. Okay, the other thing is, again, you can see where they cut across manufacturing and the different marketplaces, right? Energy, utilities, transportation, logistics. And these customers, in many cases, are customers that we've already had, and maybe we've worked on the IT side, but we were able to expand into the OT side. This is a large European automotive company. We've closed quite a bit of business with them over the years, and we're now starting to expand in the OT side. In this case, a North American healthcare manufacturer, we landed on the OT side, not having done business with them before. So again, the opportunity is it's great, and it allows you to sort of expand your footprint from where you've traditionally worked and expand to other sides of your customer that perhaps you haven't worked before. The other thing I want to mention is the municipal government side. There is an enormous amount of money coming from the government right now in infrastructure spending. And I expect after what happened this past weekend, you're going to see a concentration of operational technology infrastructures that governments are responsible for. You're probably going to see a concentrated effort right there. So don't rule that out at all. Okay. When we talk IT and OT, right, you may have some preconceived, understandings or notions of what you think it is, right? And that they may be very different, and in some ways they are. When it comes to the technology itself, right, there's a lot of similarities. They are both primarily TCP/IP based networks. Common protocols, again, are the same that we know: HTTP, HTTPS, right? ICMP, DNS. They also use public key infrastructure, identity and cryptography. And the operating systems, again, they're Windows and Linux based for the most part. So a lot of things that you already know and understand. They also employ contemporary technologies, right? Virtualization, Docker, and Kubernetes as well. So what are some of the distinctions and then make it a little different? Well, mostly it's cultural based, right? And how they operate and work within their respective environments. If you think of IT, right, that's sort of the carpet floor side of the customer, and OT being the cement floor side of the customer, okay? their network's availability requirement on the OT side, very high, right? Has to be available at all times. Whereas in IT, it's yes, nobody wants networks not being available, but they aren't necessarily as important as other things, okay? Real-time requirement, absolutely critical in OT. If you have a plant that's manufacturing or making product that keeps that company in the business, okay, you can't stop. Whereas on the management side, you might be able to suffer or bring down a network, and delays tend to be accepted in that regard, not on the OT side. Component lifetime, of hardware and even software. We're used to overturning things every 3 to 5 years, right? New, faster, more secure, better. On the OT side, that doesn't happen nearly as much. Long life cycles, 20+ years, very common. And as such, application of patches, right? On the OT side, it's very rare because that means you have to stop, right? And it goes back to the real-time requirement and availability. So that doesn't happen nearly as often, whereas on the IT side, it's scheduled. It happens regularly. Security testing and auditing, right? It's occasional on the OT side. We have legislation on the IT side of the house that make it mandatory, so that happens regularly. Security awareness, it's always been high, right? That's why those of us on the call here, right, we've carved out great careers because of that reason. And on the OT side, it is now becoming increasingly more recognized. And again, after the events of this past weekend, you can add another little notch onto that one right there. That's going to be good for all of us on this call. And then the design authority, right? Typically the IT departments, they know how they're going to design their networks, or at least they have significant input, and they kind of make those determinations. On the OT side, those folks just care about the maintenance, ongoing, and uptime availability. The OEMs and the systems integrators generally are concerned and worry about the design authority. The OT folks, they really don't care. They just need to know it's up and going. So safety and availability are critically important in OT. What about industrial protocols within those systems and networks? Fortinet supports 55 of them. ICS protocol support does matter. What about environmental requirements? Well, we have ruggedized gear. Our FortiGates, our APs, and our switches come in ruggedized formats when that is required. But the reality is that happens very seldomly, about 5%. I think you'll see that figure in a follow-on slide. But the fact is, we have it, we develop it, and it's available. Okay, so let's look at the market a little bit. Okay, it's important to know that OT is not a technology, right? Even though it's labeled operational technology, it's an industrial market. Okay, and where do you find it? When you have a blend of cyber and physical processes, when that comes together, that's where you find OT, right? These, for lack of a better term, sub-markets, right? Chemical, healthcare, biopharma, transportation, these are all markets that employ OT. The ones that are outlined in red are ones that we focus on. The majority of our customers that we work with and go to are in these particular markets. Okay, so let's talk about the security fabric and the opportunity in OT. And where do you start? I will make the assumption that on this call that everybody, if not most of you, is familiar with Fortinet, right? And our security fabric. It's broad, it's integrated, it's automated, right? You understand that. When you start to move into, the OT side, wait a minute here, what's going on? I don't really understand those old 1980s industrial type systems. They're broken out how? They do what? They manage pumps, valves, and fans? Hold on a second. This will really blow your mind. When you start stacking up the Purdue model, next to the OT environment, okay, and where we all fit, it starts to get really, really confusing. And that's where people can really get out of their comfort zones. But I want you to take a step back, okay, and I want you to fall back on what you know and what you understand. Because the top 4 drivers in OT come down to things that you know and that you're already talking about today, right? Visibility, network segmentation, endpoint protection, and network optimization. Okay, so in visibility, what's the problem there? Operators, they don't know what devices are on their networks. Okay, we solve that how? With FortiGate, switch, and AP. Now, when you get down to the deep levels of OT, there are specialized partners that are fabric-ready partners of Fortinet, the likes of Nozomi, Clarity, Dragos. You might even see CyberX in there, recently acquired by Microsoft. And they are partners with us that provide deep level visibility at those, level 1, level 2 zones in the deep OT network. Network segmentation, I would say that this is probably our biggest landing point right now, and represents probably the biggest opportunity, and certainly the biggest opportunity to start talking about. Operators find that there is insufficient separation and control of their IT and OT networks. The OT side can be very stacked, okay, which creates inherently, security risk, especially in systems that aren't regularly patched. Solution, FortiGate, FortiSwitch, and our NAC also provides a solution there. Endpoint protection. Ransomware, like we saw this weekend in OT networks, is a common problem and increasing because many operators are running legacy, and I'll throw in unpatched systems. Our FortiEDR is a great solution for that. And then, of course, network optimization. You're going to see in the retail example coming up, a customer that had data bottlenecked at their headquarters point and were not very efficient. They had to switch from an MPLS to an SD-WAN environment. So SD-WAN, FortiGate, and FortiExtender are great solutions to do this upgrade in a very inexpensive way, right? And still meet other security solutions. So when identifying OT segmentation opportunities, you want to look at it where you have your, what you know and love, right? Your pure IT side up here, okay? That starts to kind of move. It's just sitting on the edge of your OT boundary, okay? And typically you're using a mid-range to enterprise class FortiGate, our 107,000 series, okay? And IT dollars are enabled by OT, okay? In this situation, when you start to cut into the convergence of IT OT, what we typically call the DMZ, right? This is your sort of management level part of the network. And this is where the biggest opportunity is right now for us, and where we're making the most amount of money right now. Again, similar solutions, your 100 to 3,000 series FortiGates will work great in that environment. When you start going down to the systems that are the process controls, right? So the actual systems that activate the pumps, right? Open and close them, fans, various different inner workings of the electrical substations, for example, okay? This is what they call the deep OT. And we often have the smaller FortiGates, right? Our switches and access points. Think of that as kind of the SD branch level, right, on the OT side. It's a growing market. There's a lot of consulting going on there right now from other partners that we have, but it is definitely an increasingly and growing part of the OT market. And again, down here, a lot of these can be subject to environmental situations. So all these FortiGates, switches, and access points come in ruggedized versions, but you'll see that they do account for about 5% of the OT sales. Okay, so some competitive intelligence here, right? Our competitors are there, right? They provide many of the same solutions that we do, okay? When it comes to an IT OT security product breadth, okay, our fabric really covers an end-to-end solution, all the way through, and not all of our competitors can say the same thing, right? We can certainly furnish you with additional information to tell you where and exactly how, and don't be afraid to ask us that in the upcoming days and months. Industrial protocol coverage. okay? We recognize more than 1,800 signatures, like I said, 55 industrial control systems protocols, and 400 plus IPS rules. That is way more than any of our competitors in this space. We have our completeness of technology partnerships in the OT segment is unmatched. And our OT investment, not just investing in the operating system and solutions, the ability to read signatures, the protocols, right? Not just that, but our ability to partner with you, to train you, the training opportunities we have, the fact that we have an OT specialization. I believe we're the only partner on this page that actually has that. You can specialize specifically with Fortinet in OT. The investments that we have made to make the experience for our partners and our customers as rich as possible is, again, we don't see that investment anywhere else. And then, of course, when it comes down to performance and price, ratio and what you get for what you pay for, again, because of our completeness and because of our performance abilities, which I know that you're aware of, right, and our price points, we are a complete affordable solution. Okay, so here we are at the bridge point of the presentation, right? Let's talk about a couple of opportunities. Our first profile, food and beverage manufacturing company. This is a geographically distributed environment with 300 breweries globally and 6 Azure locations. Not too many players that fit this profile. This particular one may or may not be based somewhere in the Midwest. If you want to take a guess at who it might be. What was their problem? What do they have? An internal audit showed that they did not segment their IT and OT networks. They identified threats that affected their environment, and they didn't have next-gen firewalls in their network. So what was their need? What did they need? They needed to protect their breweries from cyber attacks. They needed to segment the IT and OT networks. They needed a non-intrusive tool that discovers OT assets quickly, right? So the visibility piece there, and a company that understands OT and IT/OT convergence. And so what was the solution? Well, we dropped 2 FortiGate 100Fs at each brewery, right? Times 300, virtual VMs, and 2 FortiManagers. Now, this was a deal that started out initially at $500,000, right? And look at the services take on that, right? Not too shabby. But by the time this deal was finished being scoped and we hit all their needs, it ended up being a $2.5 million opportunity. And this deal is not entirely closed. It is in progress, but it will close this year. Our second profile, and this really is a sweetheart example. This is one of my favorites. This was kind of a smaller company, right? 60 car washes and convenience stores nationally. They were going through a digital transformation, and each site represented about $6,000 in revenue a day per site. Okay. So what was their problem? Their network gear was end of life. They had no security, and as a result, they couldn't get cyber insurance. They didn't have next-gen firewalls in their network, and they had a bottleneck of traffic in their headquarters. Okay, so what do they need? They need an upgrade in the network. They needed Wi-Fi with SSL inspection and IPsec version 2 at 3 and 4 gig as a backup. They wanted a solution and a partner that was in the Gartner Magic Quadrant. And they needed a secure SD-WAN and managed switches. So, and really what they needed was an ease of use, okay? So when they saw the Fortinet fabric and our single pane of glass management across all the solutions that they needed, that kind of became a no-brainer. So what do? We put 103 40 APs, 240 switches, and 94 FortiGate 40Fs, okay? Now this deal, even though it says it's forecasting at 800, this deal is closed. It was initially a $400,000 deal, and we closed it at 800K about 3 or 4 weeks ago. Okay, so let's kind of review a little bit of the guts about the brewery opportunity. This is little bit of an interview with one of our with the rep that closed it. And so we asked, we said, well, in partnering, give us some commentary on that. And he said, look, I look for a partner who has strong relationships either on the IT or the OT side, but really their willingness to work with me is the most important thing. Okay. It's important that the partner, okay, that you know a little bit about OT, that you can ask some qualifying questions, and we understand that the OT space is new, and yes, it can be daunting and a bit out of our comfort zones. And as such, we don't expect you to know everything. Okay. So why did the customer, why did they buy from us? I mean, basically they liked that we understood OT and that we have specialized talent. As they looked across our portfolio, the security fabric story resonated well with them. And from a price performance, they were able to understand that we can collapse multiple functions into a single platform, which makes our solutions not only cost effective, right? But because they're as integrated as they are, again, you have that ease of use. And those are key selling points, especially with the OT folks looking at this. In this particular case, Palo Alto Networks was a competitor in this situation. But the customer liked our OT maturity story better. It is a key pillar at Fortinet, and while Palo Alto may inherently be in the OT business, I'm not aware, and I'm pretty sure they do not have an OT practice or specialize it in any way. So how long does it take for the customer to make a decision? A lot of that depends on the opportunity. It could be as little as 3 months, but I really, 6 to 9 months is about average. And of course, if you're looking at a whale of a deal, I mean, it could even be longer. But the benefits of retiring more quota, right? Typically, deals they can be as small as 100,000. I'd say on average they're about 500 to 800,000. But 7-figure opportunities are not unheard of. In fact, they are rather common. So, in summary, in this particular case, right, our partner didn't know much about OT, but they knew enough to ask a few questions and then bring us in. Okay, between us and the partner, we knew how to navigate the customer. And the key thing, right, is getting involved in the cycle early, because we can uncover typically opportunities that can grow it, right? And I mean, creating a happier customer, but also a bigger opportunity for all involved. So who are the target buyers and what is the value proposition? Probably not a lot different from what you're used to seeing, right? You've got the C-level, right? And they need to be able to predict security risks to the business, right? Improve the organization's ability to detect threats, identify security risks, and areas of non-compliance. And then, of course, you have your network operations, right? Improve operational efficiency of the network, manage the risk as well. But also, they need to be able to look at flexible solutions, right? That are going to last them into the future. Okay, remember that long life cycle, and the ability to scale to support changes and growth. Okay, i.e., our fabric. And the production and plant operations folks, okay, they need to quickly and easily identify anomalous behavior on the network, detect misconfigured equipment, right? And they need to save time by rapidly identifying threats and better prioritizing incident response. And all those have the following common pain points, right? Lack of segmentation, we've talked about that. Lack of visibility, same thing. And that goes back to the 4 key plays a few slides back. Okay, so what are some of the key talking points? Well, again, the market, it's about a $4 billion market over the next 5 years at a very large growing compounded annual growth rate. Digital transformation, trends in industries, it is a trend in the industry, and they are driving a lot of spend on cybersecurity right now. Again, I don't think the timing could be any better. This has been our TJ Maxx moment on the OT side this past weekend. I truly believe that. 2, you're partnering with a leader. I mean, we are known as a leading security provider in OT environments. Ken and Michael Z, we made an investment of this a long time ago. We just didn't throw this stuff into our operating system. This has been in and growing for many, many years, many years. We have more than a decade of experience in infrastructure, in OT. And again, it's increasing revenue, right? This is something that you do want to get in. You probably wouldn't be on this call if you weren't. So what to listen for, right? These, we need to make sure we have visibility into processes on our plant floor. How do we integrate, our plant floor systems into our IT ERP? These are, I won't read all of these, but this is something you definitely want to keep in your hip pocket. So let's talk quickly about some of the buzzwords that you hear in this market. Industrial networks, obviously, SCADA security, probably something that a lot of us have heard one time or another. Plant-wide security. One I really want you to know, right, is NERC CIP, okay? This is an important regulatory framework, right, that you should know in the power generation, transmission, and distribution industry, particularly here in the States, okay? Plant uptime, product integrity, these are all things that you should be able to define and have just a basic understanding of, and I'm going to show you how we're going to help you with that in just a couple of slides. I like this slide a lot. Okay, what are some qualifying questions, right? Is your OT environment segmented from your IT environment? Okay, and again, I'm not going to read all these, but these are straightforward, very simple questions that you can use to prompt, the folks that you know. And here's what I will say about this slide. The chances of you simply hopping onto a conversation about IT and the industrial control side of a company's operations, right? Not very likely with the IT people. Those folks don't really talk to each other by and large, okay? And even with the CISO, you probably have to specifically ask about that. Don't be afraid to initiate and specifically ask to get to that conversation, okay? And what does it mean to the business, right? Simple question. How much does it cost when you go offline unexpectedly, right? How long could you be down before the business would begin to suffer? So real quick, we have a very rich and developed OT team globally. As you can see, Asia Pacific, EMEA, LATAM, and in North America, all these people are very, very specialized, decades of experience. Some of them have climbed wind turbines, they've been on oil rigs, they've been around the industry for a long time. As we were in North America, take just a little quick look. We have on the left-hand side, our specialists, our sales folks. They are supported by the rest of our team. We have dedicated marketing, 2 people, Cheryl and Sherry are doing a fantastic job. We have a dedicated technical alliances person. That's how important it is. Our technology partners, right? We have to manage that very closely. We have a dedicated person for that. Our technical folks, an enormous amount of experience. Rick comes to us from a lengthy career in the government at the NSA. And then our channel folks to support you guys on this call, right? Michael Hooper and me, Louis Palacio. So this slide, this is a very important slide because in the end, this is what we do for you, okay? We will provide you with a roadmap for enablement, engagement, planning, and then we'll work with you on productivity, right, out in the street, whether it's Michael and I or the rest of our channel team that we're integrated with, okay? We will talk to you about, we will give you information and make you educated on the market insights, who to approach, how our solution fits in, right? Playbooks, a getting started guide, solution guides, demo centers. And these, as you can see, these are all live links, okay? And they go to our partner portal. Over here, sales readiness, we can help you promote it. We can run events. We have a whole marketing team, the exclusive folks, they've been fantastic, right? And then of course, our OT dedicated marketing. We can help you drive and drum up opportunity. We can talk to you about IT and OT convergence to give you a little deeper understanding about that. And then when it comes to execute the sale, right? Battle cards, sell sheets, what would a first meeting look like? What would that presentation look like? Boom, here you go, already created. Second meeting, third meeting. And of course, our cyber threat assessment, our CTAPs, not to be forgotten, always a wonderful tool with the customer to provide them with a report of their vulnerabilities. Now, getting involved with Fortinet, okay? As I said, we have an OT specialization, okay? And in just a second, I'm going to show you how to get there and what it takes. But as far as a little extra profitability, we have a close the gate campaign where you can earn up to $3,000. If you are currently an advanced or expert partner, you get 25% on an OT IoT opportunity. If you are a specialized partner, you get an additional 25%, again up to $3,000. And for every CTAP you run, you will get $250. So what does it take to be an OT specialized Fortinet partner? Your organization has to have 1 sales certification and 1 technical certification. When you have that, you are a specialized partner. And so what exactly is that? Well, the sales training is much like our NSE3 modules. It takes about an hour. There are 3 segments with 3 short quizzes, okay? And when you have 1 person designated to that, you've met that requirement. To get there, you log on to our partner portal, you go to the Engage Partner Program, you go to the specializations, operational technology, which then kicks you over to the NSE Training Institute, and you begin your training there. Again, it takes about an hour. The technical component is an NSE 7 with an OT specialization. Again, you kick that off in the Engage Partner Program. This one, yes, it is a little more challenging, but it gives you the expertise you need to be a bona fide specialized Fortinet partner. And some other goodies here on our partner portal, I wanted to point out over here, when you go to products and solutions down here in our OT hub, you'll recognize a couple of slides back, all this training material. This is where you actually access. It looks just like that slide I showed you. It's all parked in our OT hub. You can find a sales deck that will help you get going. Download it, practice it, run through. I'm not joking, I ran through this presentation, I don't know, about 7 or 8 times before delivering it today. Okay, what to expect next? Once you've achieved your specialization requirements, you want to connect with your channel representative. We will set you up with your specialization benefits. We will give you recognition of your new achievement as a Fortinet partner. We will issue your specialization badge, and we will start working with you to plan your business's success associated with the specialization. How does your business work? What's important to you? What do you know, now that you're OT specialized, where'd you like to start? What makes sense? We will help you with campaign assets, tools, and other incentives that you can take advantage of. So, by way of a commercial, I'd like to let you know about our OT Symposium, Secure the Future of Industrial Controls. This is a 2-part symposium taking place on the 24th of August for our manufacturing community and on the 31st of August for the energy, power, and utilities. It will be virtually delivered. And so who will be there? Asset owners, key decision makers, and influencers within the OT verticals. Channel partners, hopefully you'll be there. Technical alliance partners, and really people associated in the OT market where their go-to-market strategy is focused. And why are we doing this? Well, because we're all measured on pipeline and closed won business, basically. So we want to increase pipeline. We also want to continue showcasing ourselves as a thought leader within the OT community and foster our ongoing partnerships with leading suppliers and automation vendors and the respective publications. So this will be broadcast in 4 languages, English and French for our Quebecois friends up in Canada, and then Spanish and Portuguese for our LATAM market. This is an America's symposium, and we look forward to seeing you there. I thank you very much. 46 minutes, wow. I really trimmed this one down nice. Thank you so much for your attention. We look forward to working with you. You will receive an email to today's link on the slides and this recording within 24 hours. And we strongly encourage you to get on with your OT specialization now. We look forward to partnering and working with you, our partners. And again, a special thank you to Exclusive Networks for producing this. At this time, we would entertain questions and answers.
Thanks, Lou. So we do have a few questions here. The
Mhm.
first question is, where can I find more information about Fortinet cybersecurity for OT?
Okay, so we have on our partner portal in the OT hub, that is the best place to go to find all your assets will be located there.
If I can jump in a little, Lou, to add
Please.
to that, there's several pages on Fortinet.com that can also support your OT conversations. So at the bottom of the Q&A slide here, you see Fortinet.com/OT, and that gets into details about the OT and our architecture in the fabric for an OT industrial environment. We also have specialized pages for the key markets that Lou talked about, Fortinet.com/manufacturing, Fortinet.com/oil-gas, Fortinet.com/power-utilities, all give you specialized information for those target verticals.
Perfect. Thank you, Cheryl. And just as a reminder, if you have any questions, go ahead and click on the chat bubble that has a question mark on it. And we also have the second question here. How do I sign up for the OT specialization?
The OT specialist. So again, that is in order to qualify for that, again, your organization would need to have one sales specialization, or I'm sorry, training from the NSC Institute. So you would literally log into the Fortinet NSC Institute. You can get there off the partner portal and complete the sales training. And again, for the OT, I'm sorry, yes, the technical specialization. Once your organization has one of those each, you are specialized in OT with Fortinet.
Perfect. Would there be OT deal support from the Fortinet team of experts, even if I am not an OT specialized certified partner?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We are, if you are a Fortinet partner of any kind with an OT opportunity and you're not exactly sure where to go, please reach out to us, call us, connect with your channel representative, who will then connect either with Michael Hooper or myself. We will be more than happy to talk to you, get involved. We will provide our expertise to come in and talk to the customer about that. There is generally speaking, the way the process works is we like to involve the respective sales teams, and the conversation starts there generally about the customer. We frame it up, okay? Michael or I will get involved, and then at a certain point, we will bring in our subject matter expert to address the more detailed and in-depth components on OT. That's typically how it flows in the field.
Perfect. Is there a link to register for the OT symposium?
I can address that.
Thank you.
So we are in process of launching the registration page and invites process for that symposium. We should be live with the page and all the details right around June 1st. So stand by and watch your email.
Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. And so that actually seems to be all of our questions for today. So thank you, Lou. Thank you, Cheryl. Thank you to the whole Fortinet team for putting on this webinar. And thank you, everyone, for joining. Have a great rest of your day.
Good day. Thank you.